Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 24th of November 2023. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to discuss some of the most important articles from the newspaper. Apart from this, we have included a mapping topic that we are going to discuss during the day. We have also included some important like MCQs for discussion so that you can prepare for prelims exam well. Okay, so let us see the list of articles that we are going to cover in today's analysis. These are the articles that we have selected for discussion today, right? So let us discuss about the first mapping topic. Okay, so this is the first mapping topic. It says map of Middle East. Okay, map of Middle East. Now here, when we talk about map of Middle East, right, we are going to understand about which countries are considered to be part of Middle East and why we are discussing about it. That's also very important, because the Conference of Parties 28 to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, this is going to be held in Dubai, and Dubai is a part of United Arab Emirates, and United Arab Emirates is itself located in the Middle East. So that's why it is important that we locate the Middle Eastern countries also. Okay, so over here we have the Middle East portion. So let us quickly locate the countries that are part of Middle East. Okay, so generally these countries that are highlighted using, let's say, gray shade in this map, they are part of Middle East countries. Okay, so they are known as part of Middle East countries. So it includes one of the country, just a minute. Right, so it includes one of the country, which is Iran. Iran is one of the country over here. Apart from this, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, they are also part of it. Basically, these countries are also considered to be part of Central Asian countries. I mean, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, they are part of Central Asian countries. If we, let's say, talk about the Middle East, it includes these Middle East Asian countries. All right, so these countries are part of it. Apart from this, over here we have many countries. For example, Yemen, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, right, Israel, Palestine, then Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, right. So these are considered to be part of Middle East, right. Israel also means, that way it is the extension of Asia. I mean, it is the Western Asia, like that. So this is the just the map of Middle East. To understand, the gray colored countries are considered to be part of Middle East. I mean, there is no clear definition of it, but they are considered to be part of Middle East.
Sir, one thing, sir, why is it that most of the countries, in the Middle East, has their state religion as Islam? Like, is there any historical context?
Yeah, historically, I mean, Saudi Arabia is a country. I mean, over here Islam seem to have originated. Okay, so here we have Sunni Muslims, then Iran, Shia Muslims, right. Iran is a very big country, right. Then Saudi Arabia, many other countries. So it is a kind of Muslim dominated region. If we go to the western part, we have the Christians, right, Christians. And if we go to the eastern portion, so we have some other religion also. For example, Hinduism in India, then Buddhism. So that's how, I mean, there are historical context, okay, associated with it. So we are discussing about the Middle East. Basically, why we are discussing the Middle East map? Because the Conference of Parties 28, COP28 to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is going to happen in Dubai. So where is Dubai located? Dubai is a part of United Arab Emirates, UAE. So this is, let's say, overall map of UAE. So in UAE, Dubai is a part of it, right? UAE itself is a part of Middle East countries. So we have thought of discussing the Middle East. It is important for us to remember that UAE shares its, let's say, coastal boundary with Persian Gulf. Okay, it shares coastal boundary with Persian Gulf. So Dubai has a direct maritime border area with Persian Gulf. Sometimes people may get confused when a question comes from mapping section. whether like this Dubai shares this thing with Red Sea or not. It is far away from Red Sea. It is near the Persian Gulf over here. Okay, sometimes people may get confused if a question comes, so that's why it is important to discuss. Apart from this, I have included another map. In this map, basically like this United Arab Emirates have been showcased, and the smaller regions as part of UAE has been shown. For example, Al Fuzairah, right, Dubai, Sharjah, right, Ras Al Khamai. So these places are located over here. So it becomes important that one should go through these things so that like there should be some clarity about the regions. Then we have the first topic for the day for discussion. This topic is very important from environment and ecology point of view. Okay, environment and ecology. It's a part of GS paper 3. It's a part of GS paper 3. So we are going to discuss about this thing. It is known as Conference of Parties 28, COP 28. So it shows India's equity demand. Okay, so we are going to discuss about it, right? So this is topic 1 for the day. Name of the topic is COP 28. COP 28. India's equity demand. Okay, COP 28, India's equity demand. So as we discussed, that Conference of Parties 28 is going to be held in Dubai. We have seen its map also, and Dubai is a part of United Arab Emirates, and this is Conference of Parties to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, right, UNFCCC in short. So UNFCCC conducts, right, the Conference of Parties every year. It happens every year, and main agenda of Conference of Parties is to how to tackle the climate change. So they are talking about the issue of climate adaptation, climate mitigation, climate change, right? So main agenda means like in Conference of Parties. So in this article basically they have discussed about what should be India's stand in the Conference of Parties. So all the parties who are parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on climate change, they are going to meet, they are going to discuss about the pressing issues related to environment and ecology, pressing issues related to global warming. So as of now, most important thing is the global warming globally, right? Global warming is the most important thing because global warming does have many impacts associated with it. If global temperature rises, it will lead to melting of glaciers. Melting of glaciers will lead to increase in the sea level, right? Sea level will go up, and increase in sea level is associated with the existential threats of the island nations. Means if sea level rises, so island nations will be submerged. So people over there are facing existential threats. But not only global warming is an issue. Apart from this, pollution has also, let's say, assumed to be a major issue as part of climate negotiations. We are talking about how to address the issue of pollution. So as we discussed in previous discussion as well, that if we talk about this is Earth, Earth does have an atmosphere, right? It has an atmosphere that is surrounding the Earth. This atmosphere is a global common as we discussed earlier, right? So if we pollute the atmosphere at any place, it's going to have its effect on all other places because like we have trade winds, we have, let's say, global winds that keep on moving across the globe. So they are going to pass through, okay? So pollution is a major issue. Global warming is also a major issue. How global warming happens? So when we talk about the issue of global warming, right? When we talk about global warming, what is the main cause of global warming? What can be the causes of global warming? We are going to discuss about causes of the global warming. The number one cause is greenhouse gas, okay? Greenhouse gas emission. Greenhouse gas emission is the number one cause of global warming. And what are greenhouse gases? Greenhouse gases are all those gases. For example, one of the gas is carbon dioxide, then chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, then we have hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, etc. So there are, yeah, CH4, methane. There are many such gases that has the potential of increasing the global temperature. But the thing is, it has been noticed, scientists have done studies, it has been noticed that global warming, I mean global warming, if the temperature is increasing, so if the concentration of CO2 increases, right, global warming also increases, okay, global warming also increases. It means increase in the CO2 level has a direct relationship with the increase in the global warming, and the quantity of carbon dioxide is increasing regularly, okay, it is increasing regularly, quantity of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is increasing, and carbon dioxide has the most potential of increasing the greenhouse gases. This is the thing. So the thing is, the entire world is thinking of how do we tackle the issue of global warming. So when we discuss about this UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. So UNFCCC has been holding climate talks, climate negotiations as part of Conference of Parties since the beginning. So in the Conference of Party that has happened in 1992, they have come up with a principle. Good evening, Vijay Lal. So we are discussing the first article for the day. So they have discussed about a principle. This principle is known as common but differentiated responsibility. Okay, this is known as common but differentiated responsibilities. Common but differentiated responsibilities, and it has some additional part also, common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities, okay, and respective capabilities, okay, common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. In short, it is known as CBDR RC, okay, common but differentiated responsibilities, but and respective capabilities. What do we mean by this? It simply means that the entire world can be divided into two types of nations. One type of nations that are developed nations, right, that are developed, other are developing. So basically nations can be divided into two groups. Number one is developed, number two is developing. So when we talk about developed countries, right, so to achieve their development, what they have done, they have initially gone through industrialization phase, and during their industrialization phase, what they have done, they have emitted huge amount of greenhouse gases. And these developing countries did not have historical emission as such. So these developing countries are now moving towards emission of greenhouse gases. But if we talk about the developed countries, they have already polluted the environment. They have already, let's say, caused global warming. So these developed countries does have historical responsibilities. What? They have historical responsibilities. Historical responsibilities for what? For mitigating the climate change, because they are the ones who have polluted the most, and they are the ones who should be held responsible, right? So under this Conference of Parties that was held in 1992 to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, they have discussed about common, that all the countries have a common responsibility. What common responsibility? To mitigate the climate change, to reduce the global warming. They have a common responsibility. But the thing is, they have differentiated responsibilities. Differentiated means those countries who have polluted more, they have more responsibility of mitigating. Those countries that have polluted less or that have less capacity, so they are less responsible towards it. So it says common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. We also need to understand the capabilities of different countries. If we consider all countries to be equal, that will not work. For example, if we talk about USA, this is the largest economy in the world, right? They have historically polluted the most. If we talk about very small nations, for example, Nepal or Bhutan, we cannot ask both of them to contribute equally towards mitigating the environment, because the smaller country does not have that much resource and they are not historically responsible for polluting the environment, for increasing the global warming. Okay, so that's why developed countries have been given more responsibility to work towards mitigating the climate change. And since, like, they have, one thing is they have adopted a developmental path that has caused the pollution. Second thing is, like, they have reached to certain level of development that to maintain the lifestyle that their citizens are living, they are still emitting huge amount of greenhouse gases. So the thing is, it is being said that developed countries have a carbon debt. They are on a carbon debt, means, like, they have used carbon so much that they owe to the world, right, the responsibilities towards it. And the developing countries, they have a kind of carbon credit. Now we are going to discuss about carbon credit, carbon debt. To understand this particular factor, we need to understand one important thing. This is known as global carbon budget. Okay, this is known as what? Global carbon budget. Okay, we are going to discuss about global carbon budget. Global carbon budget. What do we mean by global carbon budget? It means, let's say this is the earth, and earth has a atmosphere, it does have an environment. So in the atmosphere of the earth, what is the capability of holding the, let's say, like, greenhouse gas? I mean, how much greenhouse gas can the earth sustain? That is known as global carbon budget. Means, like, this much of greenhouse gas it can sustain, it can, let's say, like, withstand, or like it can have this much carbon dioxide, it can have this much greenhouse gas, so that, like, lives are not damaged to that level. This is known as global carbon budget. So there is a budget, overall budget. So if there is a budget, so like every country is emitting carbon dioxide, they are going to, let's say, like, go beyond this carbon budget. Those countries who have already utilized their budget, I mean, like, they have surpassed the emission level, so they are on a debt now. And those countries that have not yet done so, they have some kind of carbon credit, means, like, now they can do some kind of emission. But how to mitigate this particular thing, how to bring about a balance? So it was earlier discussed that like, in this article they have discussed that historically, if we see, like, if we price the carbon, in this article they have discussed that if we price the carbon to be $50 per quintal, okay, $50 per ton, okay, $50 per ton carbon dioxide equivalent, okay, means like if one country emits 1 ton of carbon dioxide equivalent, if we are making it a price at a price of $50, then the developed countries will owe to the world how much? They will owe to the world around $51 trillion. What? $51 trillion. They will owe, the developed countries will owe $51 trillion. This is the thing. And what the developed countries have proposed, they have proposed that we are going to contribute $100 billion, which is like, a peanut in the ocean. So that's the thing. Even they are not meeting that particular thing, that particular, let's say, responsibility that they have taken. Right. And if we talk about India, in this article they have said, if we consider India's historical emission since 1850 to 2019, right, India has a carbon credit equivalent of 300 138 gigaton. Okay, means they are, the developed countries are at a carbon debt. What? They are at a carbon debt. They owe to the world this much, right? If we talk about India, if we budget the carbon for India from 1850 to 2019, right? India has a carbon credit of equivalent to 338 trillion dollar. This is around, this comes around 17 trillion dollar. Okay, it comes around 17 trillion dollar. Means like, you know, India will receive from the world this much. So India has a overall carbon credit.
So I think they will not receive this much, but I guess
Means like they are not accounting, they are saying that, like, you know, if we talk about, like, if we distribute according to the carbon budget, if we distribute to all the countries, the developed countries have emitted much more than, like, you know, what they should have emitted. So they are on a carbon debt. India has not emitted that much what should come in its account, means like, you know, to emit the carbon dioxide. So if we look into that factor, so we have a carbon credit which is equivalent to 338 gigaton. Okay, we have,
carbon budget should be vary from country to country depending upon the size and power.
right, 338, like, you know, gigaton, this carbon equivalent, CO2 equivalent, I think it is written CO2 equivalent. Means India is a very big country, they have a huge population. So if we account it that way, so India still is on a carbon credit, means like, you know, we should be on the receiving end, receiving side. So this is the thing, like in this article they have, let's say, like, you know, priced also carbon at a very nominal rate, which is $50 per ton of carbon dioxide equivalent, very small amount. So these developed countries owe a huge amount to the world. So through this article, the author wants to discuss about that in COP28, the COP28 that is going to happen, in COP28, India should put forward its equity demand, right? What India should do? India should put forward its equity demand. Equity demand means India should ask these countries to pay, right? And apart from this, in this article they have discussed some other reports as well. They have discussed IPCC assessment report 6, right? What is IPCC? Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So they come up with a report which is known as Global Assessment Report, and this report is a scientific report. I mean, like, it is the most scientific report that does scientific analysis of, let's say, like, you know, global warming. So they have come up with assessment report 6, and in the assessment report 6 they have mentioned many important things. Okay, so they have showed that the world warmed by an aggregating 1.07 degrees centigrade until 2019 from pre-industrial level. So almost 4/5 of the global carbon budget stands depleted. Okay, means like, you know, the global warming that has happened till 2019, so it was 1.09, is it 1.09? 1.07 degrees centigrade. I mean, like, you know, 1.07 degrees centigrade global warming has already happened
in the year of 2019.
from 1850 to 2019. Means like we have warmed the world by this much thing. And the thing is, 4/5 of the global warming thing has already been achieved. Means, yeah, as per Paris Agreement. In Paris Agreement, we have discussed about, like, in Conference of Parties, Paris Agreement also, it was a Conference of Party that was held in 2015. There, they have discussed that global warming should not go beyond 1.5 degrees centigrade as compared to pre-industrial level, as far as practicable. Otherwise, we will not let it go beyond 2 degrees centigrade, right, by the end of this century. But we have already taken the global warming to this level. So the thing is, we are not left with much, right? So in this article, they have discussed about that, like, you know, for a 50% chance of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, US would have to reach net zero by 2025 rather than 2050. Germany by 2030 instead of 2045, and European Union bloc by 2031 instead of 2050. So in this article they discuss so many things. They discuss about Paris Agreement, right? Paris Agreement also we earlier discussed in detail, right? In earlier discussions we have discussed in detail. So Paris Agreement has happened in 2015. This is also a part of Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, right? So here the entire world has discussed, they have agreed upon that we will not let the global warming go beyond this particular thing. But we are about to breach the Paris Agreement 1.5 degree very soon. So this is the thing. And so there is a concept which is known as net zero.
Yes.
What is net zero? Net zero means a country, let's say like it can be any country, let's say country A, whatever carbon it emits, right, it also sink, right, it also sequester or sink equivalent value of carbon, so that like overall impact of CO2 emission or greenhouse gas emission, right, GHGs emission is equal to zero. That's the thing. So various countries have adopted different targets. USA has adopted a target of 2050, India adopted 2070, Germany adopted 2045, right, different countries. Yeah. So that's the thing. So but the thing is, in this article they say if we want to achieve 50% of this particular target, then USA has to achieve net zero by 2025, which is impossible for USA, like that. Okay. So this article is really good. It is from Environment and Ecology. It talks about so many things. In this article they discuss about the Niti Aayog, United Nations Development Programs. Niti Aayog has said that UNDP, United Nations Development Program, like according to UNDP, India has let's say brought many people out of poverty. I think 135 million poor out of poverty. And at this point of time, let's say like government of India, I mean like there are many things that is talked about, but like we have discussed the most important parts in this article. Even after this discussion, I recommend you to go through this article once more so that you can remember the important aspects, right?
This is wholesome article.
Yeah, so this article has been written really good. Then we have another topic. This topic is very important. This topic talks about different perspectives related to warfare. It says the impact of violence on a child's mind. We are going to discuss about this article now. This is topic number 2. The impact of violence on a child's mind. The impact of violence on a child's mind. So why we are discussing this particular topic? Because of one warfare that is happening. So like in fact in this article they have discussed about 2 such warfares, right? So we are just quickly drawing the map of, this is what? This is Gaza Strip. Over here we have West Bank. I am just drawing a rough map, and this is the map of Israel. So as we all know, Israel and Palestine are in a state of warfare. From Gaza Strip, there was a organization Hamas. So Hamas has conducted an attack initially on Israel on 7th of October, but there are historical connotations associated with it. And Israel has retaliated to this. They wanted to root out Hamas. Hamas has also captured some Israeli people, means like they have taken hostage some Israeli people. But what Israel has done, Israel has raided on Gaza Strip. The northern portion of Gaza is almost damaged, right? They have killed more than 13,000 people, and out of those people who they have killed, most of them are children, like more than it is estimated by UNESCO, right? It is estimated by UNESCO that more than 40% of the killed people are children, right? And children and women together constitute the majority of, let's say, majority of people who are killed, right? They constitute women and children. So in this article they talk about that if a violence like this happens, what impact does it create on the child, on the mind of a child? For example, there is a family, in that family 3-4 siblings are there, maybe 2 siblings or 3 siblings are there. In that family, if a child loses his brother, loses his sister, maybe loses his mother, right? And if he survives, right, in this warfare, what impact will he has? He will have a kind of revenge mentality.
Yes.
No matter what their parents teach them during his lifetime, what his parents teach him during his lifetime, but like he will have a revenge mentality, and he will have a mentality to root out Israel. So in this article they have talked about that, like what is the impact of violence on a child's mind, right? In this article the author has given so many studies, means like author has mentioned about various studies, various research papers related to this. So one of the research paper, means like one of the author related to this kind of thing is Maria Montessori. Okay, so we are going to discuss about her. Her name is Maria Montessori. So Maria Montessori is an author. She is not an author of this article. She has passed away, but like she is an author who has written mostly about the, like what goes in the child's mind. She has written about child's mentality, right? So she wrote classics such as The Secret of Childhood, The Absorbent Mind. Okay, she has written 2 books. I am going to write the names of these books. Number 1 is The Secret of Childhood. The Secret of Childhood. And the second thing that she has written is The Absorbent Mind. The absorbent mind. So these are the books that this author has written. This author has written these books after the World War II. Means after World War II, many people have lost their family members, many people have, let's say, lost their siblings. So what impact did it create on the child's mind? So she has written about them through these books. And these books talk about that the child, I mean like who goes through so much violence in his early childhood. If the child is adolescent, if the child started understanding about the world, I mean like a child who is very much infant, he or she survives, she may not recall what has happened or not. But if the child is adolescent, if the child is adult, if that person adult, so he will create some kind of impact. It will create some impact on the mind of the child. And whenever possible, this child is going to join a kind of, let's say, group, army, so that they can take collective revenge, right? So in this article they have mentioned about it, and in this article the author has talked about another. So she has written these articles so that she can promote education and peace. She can promote education and peace among countries. Okay, she can promote education and peace. But the thing is, education and peace, why she wanted to promote? Means like, if countries know that how it impacts the mind of a child, so they should not enter into warfare. So which are the let's say like most educated countries in the world? Educated countries means in the country most number of educated children are in which countries? They are United States of America, they are Russia, they are Israel, they are European Union countries. Okay, so most educated people stay in USA, they stay in Russia, they stay in Israel, and The thing is, the contrary to this thing, I mean like what is the contradiction is, despite having most number of people educated in these countries are in a perpetual state of warfare with one or other country. So the thing is, the countries that they are damaging, the people whom they are, let's say, making orphans, so they are going to retaliate at some point of time. So it is important that, like, we should educate not only the children who are survivors of the warfare, who are survivors of violence, so that they do not take up violence in their own life, but it is also important to educate other people who are into the warfare. Okay, so when we talk about warfare, it is a very complex thing. If someone asks that why countries war with one another, it is a very complex answer. I mean, like, there are multiple factors associated with it. Every warfare that is fought, it has different reasons. But the thing is, the result of every warfare is damage. It is collective damage from both the sides, both the parties. Okay, so it is a collateral damage. So violence and children. In The Secret of Childhood, Montessori underlined the role of peaceful circumstances in child's upbringing. So in this article, they have discussed all of it. So author finally says that we need to promote peace, we need to promote stability. For that, it is important that we educate the children, we let's say, like, educate the world not to go into warfare, right? In this article, the author says that driven by anger and internal political compulsions, Israel's leaders have chosen to ignore the message that Maria Montessori has given to the world. Okay, like that.
So she made one statement here, the Montessori. Yes, sir. All major individual and social problems have their root cause in childhood.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenon.
This is a very important, means like all major, she has made a statement that all major root cause of the problems have their root in the childhood. That's the thing. So this is the thing. So it is very, very important. And here they have talked about a Jewish philosopher also, philosopher and writer. His name is Elias Canetti. In the book Crowds and Power, he devotes a section to the child's mind. Okay, Canetti points to the seed of revengeful thoughts that the experience of violence lodges in the young mind. Okay, so revengeful thoughts come into the minds of young children who are survivors of violence, right? Who are families of victims. So this is the thing. So this article talks about the impact of violence on a child's mind, right? This is the thing. So we are going to solve a question quickly, very short question. A book named Crowds and Power. So this is written by a Jewish writer, philosopher, author. His name is Elias Canetti. So this is a book on child's mind. Okay, it is given in the article itself. Very simple question, all right? So this book was recently in news, so that's why this question came. Another article, it says a $5 trillion economy, but for whom? This article is nicely written once again. I mean, like, these articles give us different thought process, different ideas, right? So we are going to discuss about this particular article also. This is article number 3 for the day. A $5 trillion economy. A $5 trillion economy, trillion economy, but for whom? But for whom? This becomes a very important thing. So basically, in this article, the author has talked about many things. We are going to discuss about it. Recently, the Prime Minister of India has extended a program, right? And this program is known as Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. I'm going to write about it. This is Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. This program has been extended for 5 years. What is this program all about?
5 kg food grains.
Through this program, the government of India will provide 5 kg food grains free every month to the beneficiary. Okay, so they are going to provide 5 kg of food grain, 5 kg of food grain, and this will be provided free of cost to the beneficiary of what? National Food Security Act. So we have a National Food Security Act of 2023, NFSA. National Food Security Act of 2013, NFSA 2013.
So she wrote one thing. This means that 80 crore Indians will still. I will later.
Means like I have read this article properly. So the thing is, the Prime Minister of India has extended the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Under this scheme, 5 kg of food grain will be given to eligible beneficiaries for free, right? Under the those beneficiaries who are beneficiaries under the National Food Security Act. So this particular act has been brought by the government of India to provide food security to people, so that people can be brought out of poverty, right? Means like because of poverty, many people sleep without food also. Recently, the Prime Minister of India has also made a statement that we don't want anyone to be sleeping hungry. But in this article, the author says a $5 trillion economy, means government of India has a vision that we want to create a $5 trillion economy. We want to become, let's say, the second largest, or I think third largest economy in the world, right? So presently, if we talk about the largest economies in the world, if we talk about the largest economies in the world, this is a very important information that we are going to discuss. When we talk about largest economies in the world, number 1 economy is United States of America, then number 2 is China, number 3 is Japan. Yeah, means like there are different measures. So by this particular thing, by the measure of GDP, so Japan is the third largest country. I think fourth is India. Is India fourth? Fifth. Okay. So fourth, fifth. Let's say this is India. Okay, we need to check, right? So here in this article, the author says that Japan has, right? Japan has been the second largest economy. I mean, Japan was earlier over here, China was here, and Japan has held this particular let's say status for 40 years. Now Japan has moved to the third place, and it is holding this particular place for last 14 years. Okay, third place. But government of India wants to make the country a $5 trillion economy. Means like we want to become the let's say we want to go up this particular ladder. But in this article, author is saying that we want to create a $5 trillion economy, but for whom we want to create? Is it going to be equally distributed among the Indian citizens? No. Here there is an organization which is
Sir, fourth is Germany.
Fourth is Germany. So I have written Germany. So over here there is an organization, its name is Oxfam.
Yes.
Oxfam comes with a report. That report talks about income disparities in different countries. So according to Oxfam, related to India, right?
Yes, sir.
1% of Indians, what? 1% of Indians has access to, okay, this data is very important. So 1% of Indians population owned about 41% of nation's wealth. 41% of wealth of the country. Okay, wealth of the country means 1% Indians. Then next information that is given, it is very important, you can write it down. And 50% of Indians, 50% of Indians, how much they had? They had only 3% of the nation's wealth. Okay, 3% of the nation's wealth. You see how much difference? 1% Indians having 41% of the wealth of the country. 50% of the Indians having only 3% of the wealth. So this is like, you know, how the wealth is distributed. Apart from this, it is important to understand that these 50% people, right, these 50% people contribute. When we talk about goods and services tax, right, so approximately 60% of the goods and services tax come from the bottom 50% of the population. Means 64% of GST comes from whom? Bottom 50% of the population. Bottom 50% population means, like, you know, the bottom people, they are earning less, they have less money, they are paying maximum GST. The highest people means, like, you know, richest individual, they, I mean, like, you know, top 10% contribute only 3% of the GDP. GST, yes, top 10% contribute only 3% of goods and services tax. So we can see that, like, you know, India is not like, here in India wealth is not equally distributed. So even if we want to make a let's say $5 trillion economy, mostly the money will be concentrated in the hand of top 1% of Indian people. So this is the thing. So it is, despite India being the second largest economy in the world, right, if we want to become second largest economy in the world or third largest economy in the world, still most of Indian citizens, about 80 crore Indian citizens will be still below poverty level, will be still, let's say, like, you know, surviving on such schemes that the government of India has come up with. Okay, so it is about 80 crore of people in India will be surviving under this. So this is, the author says, while India is set to become the third largest economy in the world by 2028, 80 crore Indians will still be receiving free food grains to stave of hunger.
That was the statement I was talking about.
Right. So this is the thing. So very critical. I mean, like, you know, so this showcases what is the picture. Richers are getting rich, poorers are getting poor, and the economy is going through a technical change. In Indian economy, we are talking about a digital economy, we are talking about fintech, we are talking about energy transition, we are talking about climate change, right? All of these newer sectors of economy will be accessed by those people who are haves, means like who can access to education, who have the resources to tap to these things. The lower people will still be lower, they will not be knowing what is happening in the economy. So they will be kept out of the benefit of the, let's say, emerging areas in the economy. This is the thing. So Kalpana Jain is in fourth India. So India, I think presently India is in the fourth thing. There are different measures to it basically, na. So one of the measure is like one of the measure that we talk about is, like, you know, GDP per capita, calculated on per capita basis. In this article they have discussed on per capita basis. On per capita basis, I think, like, one thing is, like, what is the overall GDP of a country, that's a different thing. GDP is also calculated using different methods. So per capita method, it is fourth. So Kalpana Jain has said, right. Okay, so in this article they have not mentioned about which country is the first, second, third and fourth. So we have inferred this particular information from this article. Alright, so we discussed about this one also. Now let us quickly solve this question with reference to decrease in the tax to GDP ratio. Now let us understand what is tax to GDP, right? So this is known as tax to GDP ratio. So when we talk about tax to GDP ratio, it means out of the total GDP of a country, what is the proportion of tax? For example, India is a $4 trillion economy at this point of time. So how much government of India is receiving from taxation sources? So the thing is, if the taxation sources reduce, right? So statement says with reference to decrease in the tax to GDP ratio. If this particular ratio decreases, what is going to happen? This will decrease when this decreases, right? Or when this increases. right? When the denominator increases or when the numerator decreases, right? When it decreases or when it increases, in both the cases this overall ratio is going to go down. So in this question they have asked like what will be the impact of decrease in the tax to GDP ratio of a country, right? We need to consider these statements. Slowing economic growth rate. When the economy grows high, more people will be paying taxes, so that will lead to increase in tax to GDP ratio. When the economy is slowing, the growth rate is going down, so people will pay lesser taxes, means people may be earning less. So decrease in tax to GDP ratio will lead to, if this particular ratio decreases, so it will lead to slowing economic growth rate.
So
Or
sir, slowing growth in the economic growth rate, doesn't it have any impact on GDP also?
yes, it will have.
So sir, if GDP
No.
increase or decrease,
GDP, no. What happens when we talk about GDP of a country? GDP is at certain level. Let's say like, for example, let's say India is $4 trillion economy, means GDP wise. So growth rate, when we talk about growth rate, maybe the growth is not that much, maybe the growth is 6% only. But the thing is at least $4 trillion will be there.
right?
It will be there. So the thing is, when the tax to slowing economic growth rate, when the economic growth rate slows, so denominator is not going to go down, but the thing is numerator is going to go down. So this is right, slowing economic growth rate, this is right. Then it restricts government spending on infrastructure, this is also right. Means government gets money from taxation sources. If tax is low, tax is less, so government will have lesser leeway to spend on infrastructure projects, right? This is the thing. Third, developed countries tend to have higher tax to GDP ratio. Means those countries that are developed, they have higher tax to GDP ratios generally, right? So it is in this to the explanation of it, they have mentioned that developed countries generally have around 34% tax to GDP ratio. I think European Union they have mentioned. So all these statements are correct. Correct answer is option C. All right, correct answer is option C to this article. It is an economy based article like question. So this is the thing. So all these statements are correct. You can go through the explanation. You can download this PDF also from the description. So here they have mentioned that OECD countries, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD countries has a tax to GDP ratio of around 34%, which is very high. And let's say less developed countries have lesser tax to GDP ratio. Then we have another article, Deepfake alarm challenges as AI shadow looms over the entertainment industry. So this is a very, very good article. Okay, we are going to discuss it in shortly, quickly we are going to discuss, right? So next topic, I think this is topic number 5. 1, 2, I think 3 already discussed. Topic number 4, right? We are going to discuss about this topic. So deepfake alarm. I'm just going to write this thing. Okay, much is written to the further to this article. We are going to discuss about what do we mean by deepfake. Okay, let's discuss about it. So there is a possibility that in UPSC they may ask a question in prelims exam or maybe in mains exam related to deepfake, right? So to understand deepfake, we need to understand two different systems. Let's say this is a social media, right? This is a social media platform, right? Social media platform. It can be Facebook, it can be Instagram, right? It can be Twitter, which is X, it can be any other platform like that. So generally what happens, most of the people like us, we keep on posting our own photographs, our own videos, right? Generally, like, all of us, most of us do it. And most videos, photographs are available of which people? It is available of two types of people. One type of people who are politicians. Second type of people who are celebrities, okay? celebrities means actors, actresses, right? Actors, actresses, etc. So their photos and videos are available in these platforms, right? So the thing is, what happens when people use artificial intelligence? When people use artificial intelligence, these are known as deep fake AI. Okay, it is known as deep fake AI. Using artificial intelligence, what they can do, let's say this is an artificial intelligence system. In this system, on one side they may be having a video. This video may be of any pornography, any porn video. On other side, let's say there is a video or image of a celebrity, right? So this particular thing, it has original image, right? Or maybe video of a celebrity or a politician. What people can do, people can, let's say, morph in this video. They will keep the body of the porn actor or like that, and they will take the image or video from here and they will overlap on it. They will create a deep fake so that the new video that they make, this video resembles a normal video, but it has body of some other person and it has face of some other person. And this is a troubling situation. This kind of videos are known as deep fake videos. Recently, one of the Bollywoods, I think like she is from South India, an actor, Rashmika Mandana, right? So, Rashmika Mandana, what has happened? There were two persons. One person is Rashmika Mandana, second person is they have mentioned the article Zara Patel. Okay, her name is Zara Patel. They have mentioned. So there was a video. She is a kind of celebrity, social media celebrity. So she is on social media, Instagram influencer. She has created a video. On her video, Rashmika Mandana's face was morphed. Means like they have created a deep fake where the first case is of Rashmika Mandana and the original video belongs to Zara Patel. Okay, it belongs to Zara Patel. People have created deep fake of it and it was circulated in the social media. This has created a troubling scene. I mean so Rashmika Mandana has chose to come online. She has posted about it in Twitter, which is X now. She has mentioned that if she would be a child, a school going child or college going child, she may not have the courage of dealing with it. She may not be knowing how to deal with it. And many people, what they do, they commit suicide also because of these things. Since she's an actress, she is already a public figure, she knows how to handle such kind of things. She does have a team, so she is able to handle this thing. She has mentioned this particular thing, that this is a deeply troubling situation, and this situation is created by new development in artificial intelligence, new development in the field of AI, which is creation of deep fake, right? So this is the thing. Now how to deal with it? The question that arises, right, is how to deal with deep fake. Okay, how to deal with deep fake videos. Now here author suggests many things. One of the thing is, let's say Government of India has come up with information technology intermediary intermediary guidelines for social media ethics code like that of 2021. Government of India has come up with this. This mandates the social media platforms to remove those contents within 36 hours. Means means they will not be doing it themselves. You as an user, you have to reach out to that particular platform. Reach out in the sense, you can write an email, you can write to them to remove, right, to remove your videos, to remove, let's say, a content that you are not happy about from their platform. So they have to do it. However, 36 hours in itself is a very big time. Is it the only way of dealing with this? No. But presently this is the only way which is available. I mean, like, we can ask the social media platform to suspend that account through which, like, this video has been uploaded, remove that content from the internet. If it has been duplicated, if it has been shared multiple times, they can check the threads of it and they can remove all of it from the platform. This can be one way. Other way is that, like, since people have created deepfake artificial intelligence system, the social media platforms, social media intermediaries, they can be any platform. Okay, social media platforms can be any. For example, in this article they have said that social media platforms can be YouTube, right? It can be Facebook, it can be Twitter, etc. So what they can do, they can themselves create an AI system. They can create an AI system, artificial intelligence system, that is capable of, let's say, identifying whether the video that is being uploaded, whether it is a deep fake video. If they are able to identify, right, if they are able to identify that the video that is being uploaded, it is a deep fake video, so at the time of uploading itself, they can restrict that particular thing, so it will not be uploaded. And in this article they have talked about a successful AI system that has been created by one social media intermediary. So it is, Intel has created this thing, it is known as fake catcher. Okay, the Intel has created something which is known as fake catcher. So this fake catcher exactly does this particular thing. It identifies whether, let's say, like, whether a kind of video that is being uploaded, it is a deep fake or not. And how does it identify? It is able to read the blood capillaries from the video itself. Means, like, blood capillaries in the body and like, in the let's say head and all. It is able to read from here and it is able to analyze whether a video is a deep fake video. And this may be used. Intel, we know, Intel is a company that makes the microprocessors, right, in the computer. So they make chips, and so they have created this particular system. Apart from this, in this article they have talked about, let's say, like, this is one of the solution, I would say, which is a creative solution. This solution may be adopted by different social media intermediaries. These social media can use this particular thing. Apart from this, right, apart from this, in this article they have mentioned about many things. For example, they have said Coalition for Content Provenance and Authority. There is something which is known as C2PA. So people can report about deepfake over here, right? Coalition for Content, like, Provenance and Authenticity. This is one thing. Apart from this, they have mentioned another. So they have mentioned many other platforms, right? Stop NCII. This is Stop NCII.org, right? So there are many such platforms that are mentioned over here. So where people can report about any deepfake video, and they have said that dark AI means, like, people are creating deepfake videos using deepfake, and this is also known as dark AI. This is dark side of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can be used for good purposes also. Means video morphing can happen for good purposes also. And here they have given some let's say examples also, where people are happy when, let's say, their faces are, let's say, morphed. So means, like, if it is done for a good purpose. So here the intention of the uploader, intention of the deepfake video creator depends. So there can be legal provisions that talk about, let's say, like, the punishments that may be applied, because, like, it's a criminal act. So we have another article. We'll be little quick in covering the rest of the articles, right? It says governor holds no veto power over bill, says Supreme Court. This topic has been going on for a long time. So the case is related to two states. So in this article they have talked about Punjab state of Punjab. In state of Punjab, the Punjab government was, let's say, passing bills. They were sending it to the governor, but governor was not giving assent. Governor was withholding the bill. So the thing is, case came to the Supreme Court of India. Supreme Court of India has looked into, they have talked about Article 200 of the Constitution. So Article 200 of the Constitution talks that the governor has certain, what? Certain options when it comes to dealing with bills. One of the thing is to give his assent. Assent means to give his approval. So if he gives his approval, that bill becomes an act. Second thing is he can withhold his assent. Withhold his assent means to reject the bill. Then the bill is rejected. Third option is he can send the bill back, right? Send the bill back to the house, right? Back to the house for reconsideration with some kind of input that you make these changes. Fourth option is he can reserve the bill for the president's consideration. But author says, Supreme Court of India has said, there was a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court of India headed by Chief Justice of India. So Supreme Court of India says, so far as practicable, all the bills that are coming to the governor should give assent to the bill, because the bill is being created by a government which is elected by the people. So they have a mandate of the people over here. Governor should give assent to the bill. And if governor gives back this particular bill, sends back the bill to the house, and if house passes this bill again with or without amendments that are suggested by the governor, in that case governor has no choice, right? Governor should give the assent to those bills. So that is what is mentioned. So Supreme Court of India has given this particular judgment, and there was a 27-page judgment that is also uploaded, right, to the website of Supreme Court of India. I have gone through it little bit, not much, to understand what is mentioned. So they have mentioned about like who are the petitioners. In this case, petitioner is the state government of Punjab. Who are respondent? The governor and the chief secretary of the state, they are the respondent. Okay, so this is the thing, and this is also associated with Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu also similar issue is there. The governor of Tamil Nadu has withheld the bill, 10 bills, crucial bills like that. Then we have another article, and this article is also very important, right? So it says MG Narek's audit crosses 50% local bodies in just 6 states. What is MG Narek's? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. So under this scheme, people are given 100 days of employment, right, in a year. These are guaranteed employment, okay, 100 days of guaranteed employment to those people who are willing to voluntarily work in unskilled labor, as unskilled labor. So this is the thing. As part of this particular scheme, the central government has mandated that there should be social audit of it. Social audit means the Gram Sabha will audit that how much of the let's say targeted work is finished or completed. Okay, so on the basis of social audit, the further funds will be released. And for doing social audit, they have created a separate structure. Means like those people who are involved in implementing this scheme will not be there in social audit. Okay, those people who are doing social audit, they will be given funding of 0.5% of the total budget for that are allocated for implementing this scheme. So only 6 states have so far completed about 50% of the audit. Kerala government has covered 100% of the audit. They have done. That's the first state. Apart from this, in this article, they have mentioned about some other states. For example, Bihar 64.4%, Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir, then Odisha, Uttar Pradesh. These are the states who have covered more than 50%. Other states have done low. So this talks about the social audit thing. Social audit means where people in general are involved in auditing to check whether, let's say, the work has been finished or not. We have a question. We are going to quickly talk about this question. It says, with reference to eligibility of workers for the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, consider the following statements. Eligibility of people who want to work under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Okay. Adult members of a local household. This is right. Adult members only of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe household. This is wrong. Applicant of age between 16 and 18 years, this is wrong. It is 18 years, right? Who are above the age of
18 plus.
above the age of 18 years, means like, who are 18 plus. That's the thing. So how many of the above statements are correct? Only one. Answer would be option A in this case. So with this, you can go through the explanation also. We'll quickly go to another topic. This topic is important. It's part of economy, it's part of science and technology also. The gentleman that we can see over here, he works with the Prime Minister's, let's say Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. He's a member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. So he has recently, let's say, discussed that there should be a regulatory body for regulation of artificial intelligence, and this regulatory body should work at par with the Securities and Exchange Board of India. So SEBI is a regulatory body that regulates the let's say secondary market in India, that regulates the, let's say those companies who are involved in trading of shares and all, who release the IPOs. So this is the thing. SEBI is a very robust body. They make let's say good regulation. They are regulating this particular let's say stock exchange or stock market properly. If we talk about artificial intelligence regulation, so this person has suggested that they can also create a system portal where all the companies that are working in AI systems, so these companies should submit their statement of purpose, that what is the purpose of this AI system that you are developing. It should not be left for self-regulation alone, right? Means like they do self-regulation and later we track if this is for good purpose or bad purpose. We can make regulation in such a manner that those companies that are working in AI, they should mandatorily disclose what is the purpose of the development of the AI system with that regulator, so that the regulator knows beforehand that in which direction the development is happening, so that proper regulation and guideline can happen. Okay, so this person has given good suggestion in this article. Okay, means it says, Sanyal says there needs to be a skin in the game, an ex-ante accountability, and calls for a regular audit. Means those people who are going to work in the as a, let's say, auditing mechanism for AI, they should be experts also in AI, so that they know what kind of development is happening. So he suggested a good thing. I think it will be a good because only self-regulation will not work. This kind of regulation where it is made mandatory, means as of now with SEBI, many companies talk about their statement of purpose. I mean in which sector they are working, they share their annual financial statement, lot of things. Then we have another article. It says banks may need to shift to hyper-personalized banking. What do we mean by hyper-personalized banking? It means, for example, all the customers that are coming to banks, they are at a different standing with one another. Every customer has some positives, some negatives. In the sense, like some customers are high net worth individuals, some customers are, let's say, salaried people. They may be needing some kind of banking services. So the thing is, according to individuals' need, the bank should provide, let's say, different services to them. So it says that banks may need to shift to hyper-personalized banking. Why? Because the time is evolving, right? If we have the same thing which we think like it will fit to all, that generally does not fit to all. Okay, so in this article, this person has said he is a, let's say deputy governor to the RBI. So Reserve Bank of India Deputy Governor, Mr. Rajeshwar Rao, he talked about hyper-personalized banking. So this is the thing. Hyper-personalized means individual-oriented banking system. I mean banks should have different products, different services, and they should meet the demand of the, let's say person. Then we have another article, NBFCs should remain cautious on lending. Recently, RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das has said that whenever the non-banking financial companies or banks are giving loans that are unsecured loans, the loans that are given in retail segment, so they should be little cautious about it because it has more likelihood of turning into a non-performing asset. So this thing has been reiterated by Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman. She is the Finance Minister of India. She has talked on a kind of conclave which is known as Date with Tech, okay, event. So here Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman has reiterated what RBI governor has told earlier. Alright, so this is all for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.